Hey there, everyone. It is time for Path to the Playoffs. We get to this point in the season. There's always a lot of factors, a lot of moving parts, and we like just kind of laying it all out for you to see what are the odds the Bucs make the playoffs, what is it going to take for them to make the playoffs. So Casey Phillips here with Scott Smith. This is what we're going to start doing throughout the rest of the season. So with this first one, we figured we'd start with the most recent game as they played the Rams, which was a team that there was a little bit of a battle there in terms of potential wild card spots. So what happened after that game and what did that do to the potential playoff scenario right now?
Well, Casey, as you obviously know, losing a game doesn't help you in your playoff chase. But the Buccaneers are 7-4 and still very much in the thick of it. Really good playoff odds at this point. But what it basically did was drop the Buccaneers one spot in the 17 field. They did have control of the first wild card spot, or the fifth seed. And at this point, they've dropped to sixth, with Seattle leapfrogging them. They're a half game behind Seattle because we've played 11 games without our bye yet, and most teams have already had their bye. So most of our margins with other teams are going to be a half game, a game and a half until we get that bye and even things out. But right now, the Buccaneers are in pretty good shape at 7-4. It's a tough road to the division title because the Saints have a game and a half lead and the really hammer of a 2-game head-to-head tiebreaker. But let's take a quick look here at the NFC overall playoff standings. And you'll see there you have to look at the 4 first division winners, and that includes a team from the NFC East that all of those teams have 3 wins right now. So it's always a little weird to be talking about being several spots behind a team with 3 wins at this point in the season, but that's the fact of the matter. Those 4 teams are going to get in. And if you look at this, the Saints have a pretty good chance of winning this division. Obviously, the Buccaneers aren't going to give up their chase on that just yet, but it will take an uphill battle for sure. So right now you're talking about that race for the wild card spots. And as you mentioned, the Buccaneers-Rams game looked like a big one in terms of those wild card spots. But now, as you see here, the Rams have leaped all the way up to the 2 spot because they are now the co-leaders, but they have the tiebreaker in that very competitive NFC West. And for the Buccaneers' sake, it would be best if they just continue to hold on to that spot so you don't end up in a wild card battle with them, because they do have the head-to-head tiebreaker.
So what are going to be the keys to look for in these next few games, in particular, the other teams or the standings and things to watch to really have an understanding of what needs to happen moving forward?
Yeah, well, obviously for the Buccaneers, their job is just to win as many of their final 5 games as they can. The Buccaneers have 7 wins right now. Let's say you win 4 of the last 5 games, which is certainly very doable. You have 2 games left against Atlanta. You have Detroit and Minnesota, and those are all teams that are under 500 at the moment. So, I mean, the Buccaneers will probably be favored in all those games. You do have the one coming up this week against Kansas City, in which the Buccaneers are underdogs. But the good news for the Buccaneers is, while they do need to win as many games as possible, if they were to lose any of those 5 games, the least important one is the Chiefs, because it's an AFC game, and the Buccaneers really need NFC wins. They're 4-4 in the conference, which is the worst record among all the teams that hold a playoff spot right now. So conference wins are more important. So if you get to 11 wins, it's a near lock that the Buccaneers will be in the playoffs, because the next team that's out is Chicago. They're 5-5. They've lost 4 in a row, and they would have to run the table to get to 11 wins. So 4 out of 5 wins is almost certainly going to do it for the Buccaneers. And to be honest with you, I think 3 out of 5 wins to get to 10-6 is a pretty good shot as well, because with 7 teams in, 10-6 is probably going to do it. Chicago has 5 wins, and a number of other teams have 4, so it'll be very hard for them to get to 10.
All right, well, that is our first path to the playoffs. Stay tuned to Buccaneers.com as we continue to update you on that road. We'll see you next time.